Here are two artists who have just appeared almost at the same time in our field of vision, one of them even live, as they say. They are of the same age. They both make long durational performances. Both are against Russian aggression in Ukraine. What do we know about them? What can we know? Here is Marina Abramovic, 76 years old, with raven black hair, a Botox-smoothed face, in designer clothes, one of the world's most famous artists. Here is Yelena Osipova, 77 years old, grey-haired, wrinkled, no makeup, in ordinary clothes, a completely unknown artist. A Google search for Marina Abramovic yields almost 5 million results. A Google search for Yelena Osipova first brings up two young female artists with the same name and surname who paint samovars and landscapes, and then a figure skater, a sociologist, and an Olympic medalist archer. And only after all that it shows up this grandmother. I am the grandmother of performance, says Marina. I'm a holy fool, says Yelena. I learned from John Cage to be a real, vulnerable person, says Marina. I went to the art school where Marc Chagall once studied, and I owe my life to it, says Yelena. I wanted to study mural painting, but they didn't accept girls to monumental arts, says Yelena. I don't regret it, says Yelena. An artist's duty is to pass on knowledge, which is why I founded the Marina Abramovic Institute, says Marina. I have been an art teacher all my life. I organized 3 new art schools from scratch, says Yelena. I am a strict teacher, says Marina. I stopped teaching after the death of my only son, says Yelena, because you have to smile at children, and I couldn't smile anymore. Sometimes I retreat to my forest hut in upstate New York, and I don't eat anything for a few days, says Marina. The Russian invasion of Ukraine shocked me so much that I couldn't eat for 3 days, says Yelena. There is no electricity or telephone in my hut, says Marina. My telephone was disconnected a long time ago because I couldn't pay the bill, says Yelena. In 2010 in New York, when I staged my long-duration performance, The Artist is Present, 850,000 people came to see it. I couldn't believe it, says Marina. In 2002, after the Nordost theater siege of 850 hostages in Moscow, I took a protest placard to the government building for the first time, says Yelena. I stood there for a long time, but nobody else came. Not a single person came. I couldn't believe it, says Yelena. When I started making performances, I felt completely alone, says Marina. Since then, for the past 20 years, I have been making posters and protesting with them in the city, says Yelena. Here stands Marina in a sports arena in front of thousands of faces, eager to hear what she has to say about life, thousands of adoring and admiring faces. Here sits Yelena in a room in her communal apartment, unrenovated since the 19th century, among her own paintings of faces, which seem to be mostly of herself when she was young. Sits Yelena among her own sad faces. Here sits Marina in a gallery with 72 objects in front of a crowd of art lovers who worship her and can do anything to her. Here stands Yelena in the street with her anti-war, anti-imperialist, anti-Putin placards in front of the street crowd, in front of aggressive and hateful people who can do anything to her. They touch Marina gently and cruelly. They kiss, stroke and grope her. They cut her clothes, cut her skin. They suck out her blood. They put a gun to her temple and try to pull the trigger with her own finger. They scream at Yelena, they insult her and swear at her, they spit and kick at her, they throw excrement at her, they threaten to kill her, they tear up her posters. The police take her away. My art has been ridiculed and dismissed, says Marina. They threatened to kill me. They could have killed me, says Marina. It's worse when people are indifferent, says Yelena. I'm constantly testing the limits of endurance, says Marina. It is difficult for me to stand. I survive on medication only, says Yelena, but I feel no fatigue nor disappointment. I don't know where I get so much strength from. While I still have time on this earth, I go and protest, says Yelena. The relationship with the audience is the most important thing for a performance. It's our electricity, says Marina. It's as if electricity is flowing through my body and the audience and I become one. The sense of danger in the gallery connects the audience and me, here and now and nowhere else, says Marina. When the war started and I found out about it early in the morning, I went out on the streets to protest with a placard, says Yelena. I didn't want to live anymore, but people saved me. That day I saw that many people, young and not so young, were with me. They came up to me and thanked me, says Yelena. When I stood up and moved towards them, they got scared of an actual confrontation and ran away, says Marina. At one point I was thinking that maybe there was no need for this and I wanted to quit, but people told me that there was, that I was giving them hope, says Yelena. The human mind gives up easily. It needs transcendence, and an artist can create something transcendent, an image that can be useful at any time, that can be imprinted on the consciousness visually and poetically, and that can lift the human spirit, says Marina. I haven't sold a single poster in 20 years, says Yelena, who lives beyond the poverty limit. Art should not be a commodity, says millionaire Marina. Sometimes I am accused of protesting for money, but I don't take money, says Yelena. Sometimes people try to give me money. They sincerely do want to help, I can see, but I can't take their money, says Yelena. Performance artists need to be paid, says Marina. My performances are editions of 3 + 2 artists' proofs, says Marina. If I took even 1 ruble, it would negate everything I do, says Yelena. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it out of conviction. I don't peddle my convictions, says Yelena. Tickets for my performance will be auctioned and the money will go to Ukraine, says Marina. I have been detained many times, sometimes quite roughly, says Yelena. I was fined almost a month's pension. People collected money for me, but I sent the money to political prisoners, says Yelena. Russia has not only attacked Ukraine, it has attacked all of us, it has attacked humanity, and it must be stopped, says Marina. Putin's rise to power in 2012 is Russia's most shameful day, says Yelena. NATO and America are very guilty. They should have left Ukraine neutral, says the Serbian Marina. What are you doing, Russia? It's madness, says the Russian Yelena. You Lithuanians, says the Serbian Marina, need to love yourselves and each other more, says the Serbian Marina. You Putin, said the Russian Yelena 20 years ago, you need to change course. Take responsibility, said the Russian Yelena. Human history is a history of wars and massacres. We never learn our lesson, says Marina. It is not too late, says Yelena. Drop your weapon, Putin. Repent, Putin. Pray for forgiveness, Russia, for what you have done to the Ukrainian people, says Yelena. And what can be done here to change the balance of fame and influence? I say, maybe Marina could sit down for a long durational endurance performance on a Russian street next to Yelena. She could hold up one of the posters, because for Yelena it's already becoming too difficult to hold up them both.